You're live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1928. It's Sorting Sunday. And you're going, what's Sorting Sunday? Well, if you haven't heard the news, I'm moving to New Zealand next year. So I have to get rid of just about everything, which means going through boxes and boxes and boxes of files, old files and everything else. Got to have a look at some documentation to see how long am I supposed to keep this? Can I get rid of this? So it's kind of, it's a big sorting thing we're going through right now. So I've got a whole bunch of boxes in the room behind me, behind the curtain. And we made a dent. We've still got a lot of boxes in there. But we got rid of, I emptied 1.5 milk crates, and probably about 7 boxes today. And that was sorting through a lot of paper, a lot of stuff. Found some old photographs, found some postcards. And if you don't know, I absolutely love collecting postcards. People who send me postcards, when I visit anywhere, I will go and my thing to get when I go visiting places, especially when I was like on a cruise ship, would be to get postcards and fridge magnets from those places. Just something that would remind me about that place and the fun that we had there. And that's just been my collection. That's my collection thing. Plus, if I go into a secondhand store, I will actually pick up used postcards, vintage postcards and things like that. I just love postcards. They have some really cool pictures on there. And sometimes they take a better picture of whatever the place is than I will ever capture. So it's, to me, it's a memento, but I try not to get the ones with stuff written across the front of them because I just want the picture. A lot of times I've said, oh, that's a great picture, but it's got like, welcome to Vancouver across it or something like that. That was when I sorted out. I'm like, when did I get one that said welcome to Vancouver? Because I never buy any with stuff across the front. I just take what's on the back of them to let me know where I've been and things like that. Also found a lot of greeting cards that I had purchased over the years but never used. Even found some. And I found some Father's Day cards, and I thought, oh, I remember buying these because Father's Day in the United States is different to New Zealand. In New Zealand, we celebrate Father's Day in September. In the United States, it's celebrated in June. So in June, when the cards are out, I'll go buy the Happy Father's Day cards, and then I would forget to send them to my dad for September. So I figured, well, I'll put them in a special box for when I get down to New Zealand, and he can get those Father's Day cards. Although some of them do say from both of us, which is going to be, it'll be Zeffie and I. Yes, it'll be Zeffie and I. So since Brad's no longer here to be part of the both of us, it's going to be Zeffie and I. Just figured that'll work. Then I also found a couple of cards that I had done for my niece and nephew to send them. I don't even know if they're birthday cards, Christmas cards, or what sort of cards they are, but I had them addressed at my parents' old house that they used to live in. And I'm like, why were these never sent? So when I get to see my niece and nephew again, they're going to get these cards. I'm going to go, look, I am so sorry I never sent these. And the return address label is for Virginia. And we left Virginia in 2010. And I can't remember when my parents moved out of their house. And I'm trying to remember, did they move out of their house before we left Virginia, or did they move out of their house after we left Virginia? So who knows how long these cards have been around. So they'll get those cards and just say, hey, sorry it's taken so long to get these cards to you, but better late than never. So that'll be something fun for them to open, to be able to see what we got them and that sort of thing. I forgot to bring it in here. I even found this really cool card that my mum and dad sent me. It had a picture of Gus on the front with welcome. And it was a welcome card that my parents had sent to us in 2004 when we adopted Gus, to say, welcome to the family. We're looking forward to seeing you, meeting you when we next come over. So that was really cool to get to see that card. So there's been lots of little treasures and little things that I've found as I've been sorting through things, which is kind of why it probably takes me a while when I sort, because I'm like, oh, what's in here? What's this? What's that? Instead of putting it aside to be like, okay, this is the stuff I need to go through to see whether or not I shred it, and put that aside and let's get on to the next box and let's get on to the next box. I have found journals that I've been writing in. I found some training CDs and cassette tapes. In fact, I was talking with a friend of mine earlier this week about some of the audio stuff we used to listen to. And what did I find? A whole bunch of it. I even found this really cool CD that's got this really cool music on it. So I went straight out to the car and put it into the CD player, and I thought, and then I'm like sorting through, I'm like, oh, this one's got good music on it too. Oh, I like this one. And then I remembered that my car has a 6 CD it has the one that's in the stereo that's in the dashboard, but then down in the console, there's a piece that you open and there's a 6 CD cassette in the thing. And some of you are probably going, what the hell is she talking about? In some cars, we have CD players. CDs are the little silver discs that are about yay big, and you can pop them in there and they have music on them and they get to play. Well, in some cars, when you're driving, you don't want to be changing CDs all the time. So you would, and like in Brad's Yukon, his held 6 CDs and we could just plug them all in. And we used to, it was really fun. When the Harry Potter books came out on audio, we loved listening to them because we loved Jim Dale's interpretation of the characters and everything else. And you could tell just by the change of his voice who the characters were. And so we would go, how long is this drive? And based on the length of the drive or whatever road trip we were doing as to which Harry Potter book we would listen to. Now, most of them were more than 6 CDs. So we would fill up with the first 6 CDs. And then when we had a break, if we were like on number 5, I would go and empty out the first 5 CDs, plug it up with the 7 through 11 for some of them, and put them back on. Then we'd go back to number 6 again and finish playing that, and then it would go back. And so I was a CD chain. That was my job. But in my car, in the console, in the first half of the console, I have a place that I just slide open and I push a button and up comes this cassette thing, which is about yay thick, and it's square. It's about this square, and it holds 6 CDs. And so I can stock that up. I don't know if that works. I know the one in the stereo still works. And I'm hoping that the other one still works too. And I can go and put these CDs in there and put that cassette in. So when I do my next drive to California for Thanksgiving, I can listen to CDs as I'm driving, and I don't have to worry about changing them. And I don't have to worry about having it on my phone and having I carry one of your little portable speakers, the little portable ones. And I have that sitting where I can hear it, and it kind of gives me a balance on the sound. And so I don't have to worry about that and the Bluetooth and everything else. I can just stock up the CDs and just go play. Yay! So I'm looking forward to my next road trip. And then I was like, well, we need to go for a ride in the car. Listen to the CD while we go for a ride in the car. That would be awesome. But we never got around to doing that. So for today, we got too busy organizing things. And at one point today, I decided to take a break. And Zeffie was laying in her bed, which was out by the door, and enjoying the fresh air there. And so I thought, I'm going to sit in the recliner. When was the last time I had a snooze in my recliner? So I went and got my Kindle, and I sat in the recliner. I had my blanket with me as well because it was a little cool air coming in this morning. And snuggled up into my recliner, had it all feet up and everything else, and Zeffie's frowning at me. I was like, it's my recliner. I'm doing something I have not done, and you can stay in the bed and I'll stay here. And so I read for a little bit and then just snuggled down and had a nap in my recliner for about an hour. It was so good. I was like, when was the last time I got a chance to do this? And Zeffie she didn't come and bug me or anything else. She just stayed in her bed by the door. And then I woke up and I thought, I'm hungry. And it was past lunchtime, so I went and had lunch. Went and made lunch, made a protein shake for lunch. It was awesome. And but yes, I got to have a snooze in my recliner today. I got to find all these old photographs, and they brought, and like flipping through them, I was sort of like, where the heck was? Oh, I know where this was. And there were photographs from trips that we'd done to New Zealand. There was photographs from trips I'd done to Australia. Because when I was living in New Zealand, I had to go and work in Australia for 3 weeks, so I got to go over there and I was basically based in Melbourne and right down in the downtown. Melbourne is where the hotel was that I was at, and they were all suites. So they all had kitchens and a living. This was a studio one. Bathroom was separate. Then it had a kitchen, a living room, and then a bed in there. And it was, you'd walk out the door, and there was the doors to the Princess Theatre, and then you'd walk down the street, and across the road was Chinatown. And then there were two theaters, one on each side of the street facing each other. And then there was another one around the corner there was like 5 theaters within a block of the hotel I was staying in. And I was on Little Brick Street, a block in the block, one up from Chinatown. And you could walk through Chinatown. I think it was like Koreatown was next. There was a Little Italy. There was, within walking distance, there was all these different little because Melbourne's very much a melting pot of cultures. So that you had Chinatown, you had Koreatown, there was Italian, there was Greek. What else was there that I got to enjoy? Oh, I can't remember all the other ones. But I got to, within a 15-minute walk, 10, 15-minute walk in my hotel. I could go to any different, I had basically dinner in a different country every night when I was there for 3 weeks. It was awesome. Loved it. So I found photographs from Melbourne that I'd taken in Melbourne in the men's bathroom. And you're like, what were you doing? What was I doing? Well, it's very simple. My friend Liz, who worked on the help desk in Australia for Data, I worked for Data General at the time, and we were transferring our help desk from New Zealand to Australia, and she was going to be taking over. She was a Kiwi girl who used to be in the Royal Navy, Royal New Zealand Navy. And so, of course, I was Royal New Zealand Air Force, so we had our little friendly challenge on that one. But she was awesome. And so we would get up, we would have to be at work at like 5 o'clock in the morning to be ready for when New Zealand went live. So she had to work New Zealand hours. And then I would be done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got the rest of the day to go do whatever. And then I had to be up at 3 o'clock to get ready to go to work and all that sort of stuff, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was a lot of fun doing that. And so we got to do lots of really cool things. And one weekend she took me out around Melbourne. And she says, I've got to show you like the best view in Melbourne. She says, we're not going to go up to the big tower, because this tower you had to pay to get into the top observatory room. And then you get a 360 degree of Melbourne, which was pretty cool. She says, I've got to show you the best view in Melbourne. I'm going, okay. So she takes me into this hotel, and we go up to like the 26th or 27th floor. And she goes over to this door, and I said, hang on, Liz. I said, that's the men's room. She says, yeah. She says, you got to come check this out. And I'm like, she says, yeah, go it. She said, and she says, I'll stay out here and watch for anybody coming. She said, and they had conference rooms on this floor. And she says, go in there, and just once you go through the door, there'll be another door to go through that door and walk over to the window. And so I was like, okay. And I said, you sure about this? She says, yeah. She says, just trust me. I says, okay. So I went and pounded on the door and went and opened the door and went housekeeping, and pounded on the internal door, housekeeping, and then opened up. Nobody responded. Went in. It was completely empty. And there was this big floor-to-ceiling window that had this incredible view out over Melbourne and across the river to where the gardens were. And you could see the MCG, which is the Melbourne Cricket Grounds. You could see the tennis courts there. You could see this whole range for this whole part. It was a phenomenal, and the river was there, and the phenomenal view, incredible view. And lined up along so floor-to-ceiling windows, and lined up along there were all these urinals in front of the window. So the guys could stand there and pee and see this gorgeous view of Melbourne. And so I came out of there, and I took some pictures and quickly got out of there because I didn't want to get caught. And I said to Liz, I says, don't the women's have this? She says, no. I said, where is the women's one? She goes, right next door. And so I went in there, no windows. I'm like, what? So yeah, the men's room had these floor-to-ceiling windows with this incredible view over Melbourne, and the women's room had no windows. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem fair, because all of their stalls backed up to where the window would have been. So I was like, so yes, I found these photographs, and it reminded me of that story of how we went and invaded the men's room that day to take some really cool pictures of Melbourne. And I found these photographs. So I thought, oh, that's really cool. So a lot of memories of different trips and everything were coming back today, different events I'd been to, because I was finding all these old of these photographs that I'd taken back in the 90s. And I was like, this is really cool. So yeah, there was a lot of memory stuff coming up, and but also like, I got to keep going. Put these down for now, and let's go do another box. But the fact I got through 7 boxes in one crate was pretty cool. And one of them was a big box that had 3 or 4 boxes inside. Had a big box, and it had like 3 or 4 boxes inside, all with stuff inside each of the boxes that we had to go through. So it felt very good and very cleansing. My recycle bin is about half full. I've still got tomorrow. I can do some sorting, because tomorrow being Veterans Day means there'll be no trash pickup tomorrow, which means I've got another day, I can work on some tomorrow. And then I had a client call me and says, I need your help. So we're going to talk tomorrow and see what help she needs. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So I'm excited for that too. But yeah, the sorting is still going. It's going to be ongoing for several months. I do want to get most of it done before Thanksgiving, because when I head out to California for Thanksgiving, since all 3 boys will be there, I'm taking some stuff out from them that used to belong to their dad to say, what do you want? And whatever they don't want, I either bring it back to sell it, or I'm just going to take it to a local Goodwill store right there in San Diego and donate whatever it is that they don't want, depending on what it is. So yeah, I'm going to fill up the car with stuff to take out, because all the boys will be there, which will be awesome for Thanksgiving and everything else. And just one thing before I go was, she's not in here. Zeffie's not in here. So Zeffie had an episode today. I was not very happy about it, but I've been keeping an eye on her all day, and she's doing fine. But you know how I've been talking about how when she's out there, she races when we're out walking, and then on the walk home, she gets a little slow. Well, the last couple of days, she started dragging. She was drag feet every now and again. And I'm like, well, that's a little weird. And I'm trying to figure out which foot it is that she drags. But I can't quite figure out which foot it is she drags. So this morning I said, right, let's go get the mail. So we're getting the mail on the way home. We're walking up to the mailbox bank because I've got this bank of mailboxes. And we're walking up to there. And I thought I saw her out of the corner of my eye stumble. And I'm like, I said, did you just stumble? And she just looks at me and carries on. When she gets ahead of me, which is fine, because I thought, well, no, I can watch. And then she almost face plants herself. Her feet just suddenly get tangled up and she almost face plants herself. And I'm like, what the heck? And so I stand there with her for a bit and bend over her and make sure she's okay and everything else. And she's just sort of like taking in the hugs and the attention and just leaning into me. And so then I said, okay, well, let's get the mail and we'll go home because we're just around the corner from the mailbox. And so I pulled out all the mail and that. And then while I'm pulling out the mail, she busy goes and throws up on the pavement. And it wasn't just a little bit. And she hadn't had anything to eat since last night. There was a big pile of stuff there. And I managed to get most of it up with the poop bags. And then I had, because I had junk mail with me and I had the stuff that's on newsprint paper. I used some of that to soak up some of the liquid and everything. I know it's way too TMI, I know. And then we walked home and I'm thinking, where the heck did all this food come? Because it wasn't the right color for what she had eaten. It was white. I'm thinking the only thing I gave her white yesterday was a scrambled egg. And when I cook eggs, I start with a clean pan. I cook her one first. So it's got no seasoning, no oils, no fats, no nothing on it. It's just an egg. And then I put it into a stainless steel bowl that she has. And then that sits on the counter and waits until I cook mine. And then I go and cook mine with all the seasonings and the oils and everything else in it. And then I give her hers and she eats that. And I thought, that's the only thing I gave her that was white yesterday. And it wasn't really white because it was yellow because I had yolk in there and I scrambled them. So I'm not sure, but she threw up this white stuff. I've got no idea what it's from. But yeah, and so I've been keeping a very close eye on her today. And even when we were out for our walk this evening, I made sure it was a shorter than normal walk. And she did fine on that. No stumbling, no throwing up, no nothing. But I'm just keeping an eye on her. And if it happens again, I'm going to have to take her off to the vet. But yeah, I'm just paying attention to that. So please throw some prayers and healing energy out there and good thoughts for Zeffie. I would greatly appreciate that. Because I looked at her and I said, you are coming to New Zealand with me and we are not having any issues, any episodes, any health challenges before we leave for New Zealand. Because I said, we've got things to go and investigate and to go and explore together, especially doing like bushwalks and things. I'm really looking forward to doing those with her. So I've already told her, we've got this stuff that's coming up and we can't have you being sick or anything going on. So lots of health. And we'll call on, was it Archangel Ariel is the archangel for animals and Raphael is the archangel for health. So yeah, lots of prayers and positive energy for Zeffie would be greatly appreciated. And I'm just hoping it's a one-off incident, but I am keeping an eye on her and keeping a log to see if there's any other things that I notice that are not normal for her, so that if we have to go to the vet, we can do that. We have the history there. So with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Oh, hang on, I almost forgot. Let's see, we watched On Her Majesty's Secret Service last night with George Lazenby for James Bond. Tonight we are watching Sean Connery is Back with Diamonds Are Forever. And I probably talked about this yesterday, but yesterday they kind of, at the beginning of the movie with George Lazenby, when the girl runs off with his car up to the hill to get to her car, he just looks in the camera and goes, this never happened to the other guy. And I'm sort of like, he's supposed to be the same character, just a different person. So was that really necessary? And then in Diamonds Are Forever, when they, when you see Bond coming in and he's talking with M, they're talking about him being away on vacation. So they totally don't even talk about the fact that he was married, his wife got killed, or anything like that. He was just away on vacation and he's now back. So I kind of find that little inconsistency. But later on when Roger Moore comes in one of the movies, beginning one of his movies, he's seen in the graveyard visiting his wife's grave, which I thought was very nice that they did that. So anyway, with that, I'm out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here